shows Phil Hartman and Gilda Radner sitting in chairs in a television studio. Hartman: Hello, I'm Hill Fartman, and welcome back to another installment of SNL's Crazy Critics, where we have critics give their critique of the latest SNL episode. Today, our guest critic is Gladys Randanowitz, a post-woke, post-feminist author of the serial nonfiction series Scissoring Venus Flytraps. Welcome, Gladys. Radner: Thank you for having me. I'd like to mention I also have a podcast now, Scissoring Venus Flytraps with Gladys. It's a post-sound podcast, so the whole thing is recorded while I communicate with sign language. Hartman: Sounds like a great idea. So what were your thoughts on the cold open? Radner: You should wait to open until a woman's been warm. A cold open will be very arid. Hartman: No, I mean SNL's opening sketch. Radner: I didn't appreciate them making light of the Democrats. They're the only thing standing between us and fascism. I'd much rather keep the government that we have, totalitarianism. Hartman: Amen. As a reminder, we encourage our dead viewers to vote. You're still on the rolls for a reason. What did you think of Amy Schumer's monologue? Radner: Well, I appreciate vagina monologues, and Amy has a vagina, so it was very well received. But I was disappointed that she had jokes about being married to a man. Quite frankly, that was aggressive. How regressive that was. It's not the 1990s anymore. Hartman: Speaking of which, Radner: I know what you're going to say. The next sketch where Amy is waiting to eat her soup while her friend talks about man problems? It's an allegory for what all women must go through. Being tied down by the regressive past of talking about men while waiting to eat some delicious pink bits. Hartman: You read my mind. How about the COVID commercial video where people enjoy getting COVID to get out of their daily responsibilities? Radner: I think it was a bit triggering. It seemed like something a conservative would joke about, and I don't think that it's appropriate to be in a conservative perspective right before the midterms. Democracy is on the line. Hartman: It's actually not democracy on the line, Gladys, but instead it's our producer, Juris Dr. King. Philip Seymour Hoffman over an intercom says, Yeah, I just wanted to interrupt to say the following, okay? In the last Noddle episode, hosted by Bernie Mac, the Saturday Night Alive crew put in their opening credits, okay? So instead of an ever-involving cast that's been unionized, yada, 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 they actually said the names, okay? Therefore, I am pulling the production of all Snoddle episodes until further notice, okay? But one day we'll be back to destroy Saturday Night Alive once and for all. Radner: What the hell is he talking about? Hartman: Don't worry about it, just some regressive politics from our producer. Anyway, how about the murder trial sketch with the hilarious jury? Hoffman: I'll take this one, Gladys, if you don't mind, okay? My alter ego is a lawyer after all. Okay, first of all, the sketch starts with defense attorney Dismukes making an argument during direct examination, which Gardner failed to object to. Okay, and while he may have his sights set on being a judge one day, for now he's only a lawyer and only a judge can tender the witness to the other side, okay? And then Gardner started her cross by asking the defendant an open-ended question. Yes and no questions are overwhelmingly preferable to an open-ended question on cross-examination. Okay, Gardner then alluded to records indicating the defendant did not call the police. She did not offer these records in evidence, and there was no foundation laid that the records even were what the prosecution purported them to be. Yet Mr. Dismukes, head in the clouds, wanting to be a judge, failed to object. Okay, but Dismukes did have an ace up his sleeve by allowing the jury to see that the supposed murder weapon was too dull to have killed the victim, and therefore the three women of color found the defendant not guilty. Radner: What's with his voice? Hartman. Right? Thank you, Jurist Dr. King. Gladys, what did you think of the Twitter moderation council sketch? Radner. Is Tucker Carlson writing for this show now? The removal of speech safeguards from Twitter is regressive. Content needs to be moderated. Otherwise, white men will read things that cause them to commit mass shootings. Hartman. Though, to be fair, there are a lot of regressives who still attend Mass. But they could also commit a school shooting as well, so point well received. What did you think of the Watcher spoof video called The Looker? Radner. Well, I had mixed emotions. It was empowering to have Amy simulate female masturbation, but it was embarrassing that she was doing the deed to men. Make us proud while you masturbate, sweetie. Keep up with the Kardashians or something, my God. Hartman. Okay, and what did you think of Steve Lacy's performance? Radner. It was great, but I think SNL has gotten into the bad habit of having on musical guests too often. Music often likes to keep women in boxes instead of celebrating women's boxes. Hartman. Okay, so music in general is too right-wing for you. How about Weekend Update? Radner. It hasn't been the same since Tina and Amy. Talk about TNA. Though I did like former Weekend Update anchor Cecily Strong in a strong performance as Tammy the Trucker. Hartman. How about the Jets fan sketch? Radner. Now, I found this sketch to be very moving. It touched me. Inside. Seeing women break down gender stereotypes is like a geyser to me. And I love the next video with the Pink's period underwear. They should patent that one. Hartman. And how about the female cousins fighting sketch? Radner. I'd rather see women love each other than fight each other. That's what the men want. Divide and conquer. Hartman. How about the next sketch? Big penis therapy. Radner. Now this sketch was definitely a highlight. It was delightful to see Amy trick a man into getting some much needed therapy by telling him it was for men with big penises. The only thing I like about Dick is how it can be used to psychologically manipulate men. Hartman. How so? Radner. Well, you know they chose you as the host for this show because you got a big dick, right? Hartman beams and says, well, I'm sure it doesn't hurt. Radner. That's not what I heard. Hartman blushes and asks, how about the final sketch, Big Dumb Hats? Radner. I thought it was a wonderful allegory for women competing with each other based on their accessories. Big dumb males. And dead from the earth, we're not alive. It's Saturday Not Alive, starring John Belushi, Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, Jan Hooks, Norm MacDonald, Gilda Radner, Danitra Vance, and many other special deceased contributors. Musical guest, Mimi Parker, and your host, Lucille Ball. Everybody, Lucille Ball. Applause, applause, applause. Ball. Thank you, thank you. I'm happy to be here hosting Saturday Not Alive. I'm finally here. After all of my schemes, I finally did it. I finally hit the big time. Desi Arnaz comes out on stage and says, Lucy, what are you doing here? Hosting this show is no place for a woman. Ball. But Ricky, you hosted the show. I want to host it too. Arnaz. Nonsense, Lucy. Fred and Ethel are right outside. Come on, let's go grab some dinner. Vivian Vance and William Frawley come out. Vance, come on, honey, you don't need this. Ball, Ethel, you know this is where I always wanted to be, a star in show business. Arnaz grabs Ball by the arm and says, now come on, Lucy, I'm the star, not you. Let's go. Ball pulls her hand away from Arnaz. John Belushi comes out and puts his arm around Ball and says, hey, Rick, is there a problem here? Arnaz looks at Ball and says, so this is what you're going to do, huh? Give up being my housewife, sleeping in separate beds, to hang out here with John Belushi? Ball, well, Ricky, the one thing John gives me that you never did was R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Take care. Bye, Ricky. Belushi. Plus, we sleep in the same bed. Ball kisses Belushi on the cheek and says, folks, we have a great show tonight. Mimi Parker is here. So with days like these, get ready for a lullaby. We'll be right back.